Okay, boys and girls, let's tear out page 213, 214, confusing verbs. And that's exactly what they are. They're very confusing. So please don't try to do this paper without looking at the chart on every single question. So let's look at the chart and make sure you know how to read it. Some action verbs in the English language may be confusing and are often used improperly. So the words in this column are present tense. This is their meanings. This is the past tense. And then this column is when you use these verbs with had, have, or has. So let's look at the first one. Lie or lies, meaning to recline. So this is the present tense. So let's use that in a sentence. The first one, you would use the helping word will. The girl will lie back in her chair, or the girl lies back in her chair. Or past tense, the girl lay back in her chair, or if another way to use it as past tense is the girl has lain, or had lain, or have lain back in her chair. The second word is lay, meaning to put something down. So, present tense, she will lay her books on the table. Or, she lays her books on the table. Past tense, she laid her books on the table. Or, it's also laid when you use it with a helping verb, had laid, have laid, or has laid. Okay, so let's come down here to the second part. The helping verbs can and may are also often misused. And I would say most of the time in my classroom, these two words are misused. For example, Miss Jan, can I go to the restroom? Instead of that, you would need to say, may I go to the restroom? Because if you look over here at the meaning, can is to be able to do something. I can cook eggs, or I can work that math problem. I am able to do that. The example here, Jose can speak loudly. But if you're asking permission, the meaning here says to be allowed or permitted to do something. You may borrow my pencil. Or if you're asking me, may I go to the restroom? Yes, you may. All right, let's look down here at guided practice. It says underline the correct verb twice. So, number one, the foreman lays or lies a set of blueprints on the table. So let's go back up here to the chart. Lie means to recline. Lay means to put something down. So it would be lays a set of blueprints on the table. And we would underline it twice. Okay, the second one. The crew sits or sets in the shade during breaks. So let's go up here to sit means rest, or sets means to put down. So it would, the correct word would be sits, and you would underline that twice. Number three, they have risen the first 2 stories ahead of schedule. They have raised the first 2 stories ahead of schedule. So you look up here at risen is a form of rise, and it means to get up. Raise means to bring up. So the correct word would be they have raised the first 2 stories ahead of schedule. Underline it twice. Okay, the second part, write C if the verb used in the sentence is correct. Write NC if the verb used is not correct, and then use the symbols for delete and to write this above to add to the correct verb. So number 4, Mr. Jordan can cut the boards accurately. This is a correct sentence because can means is able to. So you don't have to do anything else to that. Number 5, however, is not correct. He has taught me about different saws. It should be he has taught me about different saws. So you would put NC for not correct. You would delete teached, and you would put the arrow pointing up and taught above the sentence. Okay, let's turn it over. And let's read the directions. Underline the correct verb twice. So on 1 through 10, please use the chart, look up those words and their meanings, and underline the correct verb twice. Down here for number 11 through 15, write C if the verb used in the sentence is correct. Write NC if the verb used is not correct. And then use your symbols to add the correct verb. The bottom part is just for a little bit of practice. This will not be anything you have to write. It says say 2 sentences using can and may correctly. Good luck.